You're on mute too. Okay. Okay, I think we have it. All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for joining us for today's A Month of Service presentation. My name is Nia Murray. I am Programs Coordinator with Neighborhood Recovery Community Development Corporation, and we want to welcome you to the Money, Health, and Wealth Financial Capability Series. And today's topic is going to be about understanding credit, how it works, and how to improve your score. So once again, welcome. Included in the A Month of Service collaboration is the City of Houston's Department of Neighborhoods, the Earl Carl Institute, Lone Star Legal Aid, Harris County Tax Assessor Collector's Office, Harris Central Appraisal District, Houston Bar Association, and Houston Volunteer Lawyers. And together we make up A Month of Service. So what A Month of Service is a collaborative of these different organizations that come together on a monthly basis and offer a variety of different workshops and presentations and information relative to asset building, asset protection, community empowerment, and maintaining of generational wealth. And as part of the series, what we all started doing several years ago, since we were kind of each doing our own individual things as our own individual agencies, we decided to collectively create a larger impact, considering that we service all the same community. So included in that is our Money, Health, and Wealth Financial Capability Series that we offer on a monthly basis with a variety of different topics relative to financial capability, whether it's being credit, debt management, savings, life insurance and savings plans and things of that nature. So we have our sponsor with Family Houston, who's going to be presenting the information for you today, or actually every month in our series. And Ms. Monet has been our presenter for several years with us, and we are grateful for the partnership that Family Houston actually offers to the community. And she's going to go into a little bit more detail about the services that Family Houston does also offer. So this is your opportunity to get firsthand information from a financial coach, learn about what is a financial coach is and what they do, and how you can take advantage of those services at no charge. So for those of you that are joining us today on this Zoom platform, or also watching us on our Facebook, please feel free to ask whatever questions that it is that you like. Again, if you are joining us on Facebook, please feel free to type your questions into the comment section. The only thing that we just kind of give the disclaimer that the information presented here today is for educational purposes only. We understand that everybody's on a different path, have different obstacles and things like that. So we try to ask that you keep your questions to be on a general basis, so that way your personal detail information is not getting out there for everybody to hear about or have access to. But we do encourage you to reach out to Family Houston for more of a one-on-one type of basis. So to get your individual issue addressed. So, but again, this is your opportunity to ask whatever questions it is that you like. This session is being recorded, and it will be sent out to all of the participants that registered for this particular presentation, as well as being going to be on our YouTube page for anyone who'd like to go back to review this session or to share it or forward it along to anyone else. So with that being said, thank you guys very much again for joining us this rainy afternoon. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it on over to Ms. Monet, and we're going to get started.
Hi, everyone. My name is Monet Cheney, and I'm a financial coach with Family Houston. Give me just a second. I'm going to pull up my presentation. And I will go into more details at the end of the presentation about like what we do as financial coaching and how we can be a service to you to help you get into a better credit position. So if you're looking to build credit, or you wanted to repair some things on your credit, then we're here to help. I'm trying to find my little presentation, so give me one moment.
If you go to the slideshow, yep. Yep.
So today we'll be focusing on understanding credit. So I'll go over the basics of credit history and your credit score, just so you can get a better understanding on how to build your credit score, as well as making sure that your credit history is accurate as well. And if you have any questions at any moment, or anything that you've done to build your credit that's worked for you, then feel free to share with the group, because we do love to learn from each other. So just feel free to share things that have worked for you that you've tried. So I want to talk about why credit is important. I mean, pretty much everything nowadays is based around credit. If you're trying to rent an apartment, they review your credit history. If you're applying for jobs, some companies review your credit history, as well as if you're needing loan products for an auto loan, you're trying to purchase a house, or maybe you're trying to open credit cards to build your credit. All of these entities, they look at your credit history to determine if you're someone they want to do business with. And the primary thing they're looking at is, are you someone that pays people back? As well as, can you afford to pay the loans that you're applying for? So having good credit, of course, is going to get you better interest rates. So you're going to save money on credit cards and loan products. Of course, like I said, some employers, they do review your credit history to determine if you're eligible for a position, especially those employments that involve you handling sensitive or private information of individuals, as well as handling cash. I've had clients in the past that come to me and said that I had an employer ask me to get collections or pay off things on their credit report in order to get employed. So it can affect your employment eligibility, your insurance rates as well. So they do review your credit report when you are getting quotes for insurance, your utilities, and your rent. So it's good to strive to have a good credit history. We do understand that, you know, as individuals, we make mistakes. You may lose a job or lose income and unable to pay things. So you should always strive at some point to repair your credit and have good credit, because getting to a point of having good credit is going to save you money overall. It's going to make it a lot easier for you to do the things that you need to do in life. And then having a bad credit is going to cost you more money in the long run. So you're going to have higher interest. If you're applying for an apartment, you might have to pay more money up front. If you're trying to purchase a car, you might have to pay more money up front, or you have to deal with high interest rates. So having good credit is going to save you money overall and over time, and having bad credit is going to cost you more money. So what is on your credit report, or what is a credit report? So your credit report is a history of interactions between you and creditors over the last 7 to 10 years. There's 3 credit reporting agencies: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And all 3 credit reporting agencies have their own credit score. And that credit score number is based on information from your credit report, and it pretty much tells the likelihood of you paying a lender back. and I'm going to go back to what is a credit report. So everyone is entitled to a copy of all three credit reports. Some free sites where you can get your credit reports. You can go to annualcreditreport.com, and that would get you all three credit reports. Usually you're able to get your credit reports once a year. I know during COVID, they opened it up to where you can review it multiple times a year. I'm not for sure if they're still allowing you to look at it multiple times a year still, or they're back to the annual pull. But it is a free option to pull all three credit reports. It does not give you your credit score. It just gives you the content that's on all three reports. Other free sites to get your credit report, Experian website is free, and they do provide you the Experian FICO score. Credit Karma is free for TransUnion and Equifax. Their credit score is not FICO. And I'm going to say that one more time. Their credit score is not FICO. So their score is not going to match what your FICO score is, but they are good for the content of your credit history. So if you need to know what is on your credit report, and if you need to know contact information for each of the creditors or collection agencies on your credit report, then Credit Karma is good for that information, but they are not good for their credit score because it is not the FICO score. If you want to get an accurate FICO score, I recommend just going directly to FICO. So it's myfico.com, and that's where you can get an accurate credit score, FICO score for all three credit bureaus. It is going to cost you, but you're going to get the most accurate information if you go directly to the source of the credit score that every lender looks at. So how long does death affect your credit history? So there are rules for reporting deaths that can be found in the Fair Credit Reporting Act or FCRA. That act states that most negative item must be removed from your credit report 7 years from the last date of delinquency. So the last date that that an account was reported as delinquent, 7 years from that delinquency date. If you start paying on that account again, so you decide to bring that account current, then that first date of delinquency resets. So if you go delinquent a second time, then that's going to be your new date of delinquency. So it'll be 7 years from that new date. So if you do have delinquent accounts on your credit report, anytime you get caught up or you bring yourself current, and then you go delinquent again, then that second delinquency date is going to be 7 years from that date. Otherwise, if you leave it alone, then it'll fall off in 7 years. For collections, then it's 7 years from the date that it was placed on your credit report. If you have Chapter 7 bankruptcy filings, those are usually on your credit for 10 years. Judgments, so anytime someone sues you, then there's 7 years or until the state statute of limitation expires, whichever is longer. If you owe money that is guaranteed to the government or guaranteed by the government, so unpaid taxes or student loan debts, those will stay on your credit report indefinitely or until 7 years from the date paid. So federal student loans, not private student loans will be treated like any other debt. So if you have a private student loan and it goes delinquent, then it'll stay on there 7 years from that first delinquency date. If you have federal student loans, these are student loans guaranteed by the government, then those will be on your report indefinitely until you pay them off. And then once you pay them off, then they'll fall off 7 years from that paid date. Inquiries. So inquiries is anytime someone does a hard pull on your credit report. So when you are applying for any type of credit and they pull your credit history, then you'll have an inquiry placed on your credit report. Those stay on for 2 years, and you want to make sure that you're keeping those inquiries to a minimum. So definitely only apply for credit when needed. Now I want to talk about, because now that you know like what's on your credit, well, actually, let me go over what's on the credit history because I didn't say what's on the credit history. So on your credit report, you're going to see your information that identifies you. So your name, social, birth date, addresses, current addresses, previous addresses. You may see companies that you either currently work for or you worked for in the past. You're going to see public record information. So like if your judgments, bankruptcies, that will be listed on there. And then you have your collections. So anytime a collection agency have purchased a debt from a creditor and now they are collecting on it, then that's going to fall in your collections section. And then you're going to have all your trade lines. So trade lines, either open or close, is going to be original creditors accounts that you have opened. And then lastly, your inquiries. So inquiries, again, that's whenever a creditor does a hard pull of your credit. All of this information on your credit report, it have to be accurate. So creditors and collection agencies have to be reporting the correct dates of debt. So delinquency dates, open, close date, pay dates, all of those have to be correct. They have to be reporting the correct balances of what you owe. Anytime you're paying late on creditors, they have to report accurate payment history. So all of the information on your credit report have to be accurate. Due to like the consumer laws, they have to be accurate. If you have errors and you have proof of errors on your credit report, or you're a victim of identity theft, then you're going to want to correct those things on your credit report. The only time that you're going to want to do this is, like I said, of course, you have proven errors on your credit report and you have documentation proving that information on your credit report is incorrect, or you have proof of identity theft. So first I want to talk about verification letters. So anytime a debt collector reach out to you about a debt, you have the right to send a letter to them, asking them to validate that debt, as well as if they don't provide enough information to you, then you can send a certified verification letter to the collection agency or creditor, asking them to provide you more information about the debt so you can know for sure that this is your debt. And if you're wanting to pay off a debt and you just want to double check that the information that the amount that you're supposed to pay, then of course you're also going to want to send a certified verification letter to get proof that what they say you owe is what you owe. Because you want to make sure that you're not paying more than what you're supposed to pay on a debt that you're wanting to settle and pay off or pay in full. So anytime you recognize debts or information that you're not familiar with, or if you're familiar and you want to pay them off, sending a verification letter is a good idea just to make sure the information they're providing is correct. I recommend sending this letter certified because the certified letter is going to give you a little green card that the company have to sign once they receive your letter, and then you receive that card back. So you know for sure that that letter was received by someone. In the case, you have to show proof that you sent a letter to this company asking for verification. The next thing is disputing information with the credit reporting companies. So disputing information is pretty much you identify error on your credit report. You're going to dispute that error with the credit reporting companies, so Experian, Equifax, and or TransUnion. So you're disputing with the credit bureaus that that information is on. If it's on 2 credit reports, then you just send it to those 2. If it's on 1, you just send it to that 1. If it's on 3, all 3 of them, then you're going to want to send a letter to all 3. In this letter, you're going to explain why that account or why whatever information is incorrect is incorrect. And you're going to provide copies of documents to support your dispute. As well as you can provide a copy of your credit report, just highlighting the errors on your credit report so they can know exactly what it is that needs to be fixed. Disputing does not mean you're just gonna just dispute everything and hope for those things to get removed or fall off. Anytime you dispute information, the credit bureau do go through a process of verifying it. If they do verify it, then they leave a notation on your credit report that you disagree with the information on your credit report. So when other lenders pull your credit, you're going to see that they're going to see that there's notation that you disputed information. So it's very important to only dispute actual errors on your credit report. Because you don't want those dispute notations all over your credit report, especially when you're trying to apply for a home. And then lastly is identity theft recovery. So anytime you have someone have stolen your identity and they have opened up credit accounts on your credit report, you want to make sure that those fraudulent accounts are removed from the report. There is a website through the federal government. It's identitytheft.gov. On their website, it pretty much tells you the steps that you need to follow to try to get those fraudulent accounts removed from your credit report. You will have to file a police report to include with your disputes, as well as there's a identity theft report that you can fill out and submit on identitytheft.gov, and you can provide that information because the credit bureaus, they can't just take stuff off your credit report because you say that it's not yours. You have to provide a certain level of proof that you did not open those accounts and you did not spend the money on those accounts. So identitytheft.gov is a good website to make sure that you're pretty much making sure that you have everything that you need to do and you're following a particular plan or strategy to get those accounts removed. So I would definitely recommend, if you have any accounts that you know for a fact is a fraudulent account, to visit that website and follow the steps to getting those items disputed. Is there any questions?
Nothing in the chat. Nothing in the chat yet.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about your credit score. So your credit score, it ranges from 300 to 850. I put 640 as a magic number because if you are applying for mortgage lenders, a lot of mortgage lenders, they want to see 640 and higher. There's some that have lower minimal credit scores, but 640 would get you a higher number of options to choose from. And again, your credit score help lenders determine what type of borrower you are. There are 5 factors that goes into calculating your credit score. The first thing is payment history. So payment history is 35% of your credit score. So that is one thing that you should be the most important thing that you pay attention to on your credit history, is making sure that you're always paying on time. Anytime you make late payments or you get new collection items, then that can drastically drop your credit score. So you want to avoid any delinquencies, any collections, or any late payments, so you won't lose much of your credit score. Second is a credit utilization or credit usage. So when you have revolving accounts, such as credit cards and line of credit, it's always good to stay under 30% of your total limit. So you never want to be using too much of your credit, because that can look as if you can't afford new credit. Credit usage is 30% of your credit score. So it's the second most important thing on your credit report, because if you are using more than 30% of your total revolving credit card limits, then that can drop your score. So you could be paying on time every month, but if your credit card balances or line of credits are above 30% of your total credit limit, then it's almost like you're getting positive payment history and then negative payment history at the same time. So every time you're reporting more than 30%, it's going to drop your score down a few points. So it's good to make sure that you're paying attention to your payment history and your usage if you're trying to build your credit score up to a particular goal number. The other 3 items, they're the smaller factors in your credit score. So you have average age of accounts, that's 15%. So that's the average of all your accounts and the number of years that you had accounts open. So the longer that you have accounts open, the better that factor looks when it goes into your credit score. So it's good to not close credit card accounts. So if you have credit card accounts and you pay them off and you said, I'm not going to use this card anymore, it's good to just leave the card open. Because if you call and you ask for that card to be closed, then you're going to lose all of that credit history from your credit report, and it can drop your score a little bit. And then as far as installment products, anytime you pay off an installment loan, it does drop your score a little bit because of the average age of accounts, but that's fine because you can always build it back up. But as far as credit cards or line of credits, just making sure that you keep those things open if you're no longer using them, and just allow the credit card company to close it if they wish to close it at some point. Credit mix, you do need to have a good mix of credit. So revolving accounts and installment accounts. So just making sure that you're utilizing like a credit card or line of credit, and you have some type of installment or personal loan, auto loan. Just making sure you have those items on your credit report. And then lastly, if your inquiries, which is 10% of your credit score. You want to keep inquiries to a minimum. Only apply for credit when needed, because if you have more than like 4 inquiries on your credit report, it can start to affect your score and start to drop your score. So just make sure you're not going out and just applying for credit just to apply for credit. And only apply as needed.
Do the secured credit cards go for affect your credit too if you close the account?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes, because when you close that secured card, you do lose that credit history. If that company closes it due to you not using it anymore, it don't affect you. But if you request for them to close it, it does. I do understand that there are some secured cards that have annual fees, and they might not have an option for you to transfer it into an unsecured account. And I know for a fact you don't want to be paying an annual fee on a card that you're not using anymore. So if in any case that you do need to close it because of that reason, I mean, you're going to lose a couple of points, but you can build those points back up.
Okay, because the one I have, it's a secured credit card, but it don't have annual fees. And I was required to put a deposit on it.
Oh, yeah, no, you'll be fine. So in that case, then if you graduate to unsecured credit cards and you're no longer using that secured card anymore, then I would just leave it alone. But depending on the company, you can always check and see if they have an option where you can change the unsecured card to change the secured card to an unsecured card after you've been using it for a few months. Usually after like 9 months or so, you can request for it to be switched to an unsecured card.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So just a little bit more about credit utilization. Again, like I said, it's the second most important item on your factor that generates your credit score. So you do want to be mindful.
You did the little twist.
Nia.
I'm sorry.
So with credit utilization, you want to be mindful of how much of your credit card limit that you're using. Like I said, when you're generating your FICO score, they don't want to see that you have a utilization over 30%. So if you want to calculate your own percentage, then you're basically going to add up all of your credit card balances and divide the balance by your total limit. So you're going to add up all of your credit card limits. And then that would give you the percentage of usage. If you have one card, then it's going to be based, if you only have one revolving debt, so one credit card or one line of credit, then your usage is going to be based on just that one account. If you have multiple cards, so if you see in the second example, and this person have 3 cards, then you're going to add everything up. So you're going to have your total balance of all 3 cards and divide that by the total limit of all 3 cards. The credit, when you look at your credit report, it's going to tell you what your usage is. So you don't really have to calculate it yourself unless you want to. But anytime you see a number over 30%, then that's dropping your score. So I always tell my clients, especially if you're starting off fresh with a new card and you're at a 0 balance, you always want to make sure whatever you spend is enough that you can make that payment at your statement date or by your due date. Because if you carry a balance, eventually it can lead up to you being over that 30%. So it's just good to just only spend under 30% of your limit, or making sure that you're paying off your credit cards each month. so your usage is always reporting low. And then another thing is understand when your report dates are for your credit cards, because you always want to make sure that whatever balance is reported to the credit bureau, that the reported balance is under that 30%. So these are, again, just going over again, things that affect your credit score. So to increase or build your credit score, you want to show on-time payments to open accounts. You want to keep your credit card balances under 30% of the credit limit. Keep inquiries to a minimum. Have a good mix of credit, and then have years of positive credit history. And then what decreases your score is late or missed payments, high balances on credit cards, high numbers of inquiries, collection items, and then too short credit history or no credit history. And also, it is understandable if you might make mistakes. Maybe you paid something late by accident, or you got into a financial crisis where you couldn't pay all of your creditors on time. You can always start over. Once you get back to a place where you're able to pay everybody, just start paying on time. Because eventually those late pays and those delinquencies are going to get older and older. And then in 7 years, they'll fall off. But the older late payments get, the older collection items get, that information weighs less on your credit report. So if you're looking to build your credit, just make sure starting from wherever your starting point is, that you're always maintaining on-time payments and you're always maintaining low balances on your credit cards. And that's gonna help build your score up. And then just going over, because I get this question a lot, what is secured credit and what is unsecured credit? So secured credit is a secured line of credit and is guaranteed by an asset such as a home or a car. So your secured loans is going to be, again, that's secured by a guarantee by asset. So if you don't pay that loan, then they can foreclose your home or they can repossess your car. That's the same thing with title loans or pawn shops. Like when you get those type of loans, the collateral is your car or your title. And then for like pawn shops, the collateral is whatever item that you put in to get that loan amount. Secure credit cards are guaranteed by a deposit made by the cardholder. So whenever you open a secure credit card, they have a minimum deposit that you have to place in order to have that card. Usually that deposit is the amount of your credit limit. If you get into a situation where you're unable to pay your balance, then that deposit can be used to pay that balance off. Lenders, they do hold liens on assets until the loan is paid off. So when you have an auto loan or a mortgage, there is a lien on your loan until it's paid off. And once it's paid off, then you have to go through the process to get the lien removed. And then if you are unable to pay the debt, then the asset is seized to cover the debt if the borrower defaults on a loan. I also want to say that if a car is repossessed and you owe more than what that car is worth, sometimes that will leave a remaining balance on your credit report that you're still responsible for. And then unsecured credit, an unsecured line of credit is not guaranteed by an asset such as credit cards or line of credits. And then an unsecured credit tend to have a higher interest rates. And then lenders cannot seize property if borrowers default on an unsecured debt. You also can have unsecured personal loans as well. With those type of creditors or that type of credit, if you don't pay, they cannot come and take whatever you bought with that loan or whatever you bought with the credit card. They can't come and take those items away. But what they can do is report that negative information on your credit report and let other creditors know that you did not pay that debt. Any questions before I move on?
Yes, there was one in the chat here that I had received. Is it possible to reach an 800 credit score if you were retired, having a car paid off and receiving Social Security only?
Yes, so you would just have to make sure that you have active trade lines on your credit report. Building your credit does not have to be expensive. It can fit within your budget. There are, credit card credit builders that are affordable to have. So, and then on a credit card, you only pay what you spend on the credit card. So if you can only afford $30 a month, then you should only spend $30 a month. And when it comes to the information that generates your credit score from a credit card, it doesn't matter how much you spend. The only thing they're looking at is that you're paying on time and that your usage is under 30% of that limit. So if you're spending just $25 a month to build your credit on a credit card, then that fits into your budget, then you can build your score up to 800. There's also installment related credit builders that's like $25 a month, and then that $25 a month goes into a savings account. And so that's 2 years of credit history of you paying on time that can help build your score up to 800. So it is doable with a fixed income. You just have to be very disciplined and making sure that you're not overextending yourself or getting more credit than you can afford to pay within a month.
The follow-up to that, how long does it take?
I mean, that's hard to say. Your credit report is updated once a month. And then it also depends on what else is on your credit report. Unfortunately, your credit score goes up slower than it goes down. So it can take some months to get to that point. But it's hard to say because unfortunately FICO don't tell us how many points certain factors are. So I just recommend just making sure that you're doing all you need to do to build your score up and not allowing it to drop down. And then eventually you'll get to that 800 point.
Can I also add, it also depends on how often the creditors report to the bureaus, because not all creditors report at the same time to all 3 bureaus every single month. So you have some creditors that report like on a quarterly basis to only one credit bureau. So they're not required to report to all 3, because you actually have to pay, or a creditor actually has to pay to do those reportings. So if they don't want to pay to report to all 3 and may only report to one, that's why sometimes when you look at your credit report and you see 3 different scores and one is a hell of a lot higher than one of the other ones. So it really just kind of depends on which accounts are being reported at that particular time. So it really, there are some other factors that kind of play into that as well. And you just kind of have to know when do they report, and you can actually ask them too. When you go to open lines of credit, ask them, how often do you guys report to the bureaus and when do you report? So that'll kind of give you a little bit of a better picture as to how often that they actually do that as well. There was another question.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Now I
Go
would
ahead.
definitely say why are you looking for the, did you find it? You find
Yes,
it?
yeah.
Oh, okay, go ahead, go ahead.
How can you report payments when your apartment complex does not report you to any credit companies?
So apartment complexes usually don't report to the credit bureau, but there are some that does. And then there are like programs that you can enroll into that report to the credit bureau. But you have to talk to your landlord or the apartment management company to see if they use any of those programs. But normally apartments don't report to the credit bureau.
Sometimes they
Unless
do.
you don't
It's
pay.
rare. It's rare,
Yeah,
but
it is.
sometimes they do. You can also Experian Boost actually does an alternative for trade lines. You could subscribe to there. They can. It's something like and I can't get all the details, but it's something to the effect where they will tie wherever you make your payments from, like a credit account or checking account or something like that, where they can report or they can see that you're making payments to like your utility company or to your cell phone bill company or something like that. So, and then those things kind of can get reported to your credit score too, and to bring your score up.
Yeah, so I do like the credit booster because that can add to you building your score, especially if you don't want to have a whole bunch of trade lines on your credit report. So Nia's right. You have to connect to whichever checking account that you're paying those utilities through, and it somehow it knows that you're making on-time payments. But if you make a late payment on one of those bills, then it don't report at all. So it's never going to report like a late payment to one of the utility. It's only going to report your on-time payments. And then another thing I want to add is when you are opening accounts to build your credit, make sure to check who do they report to. Ask all your creditors, like, what are your report dates? Just so you can be knowledgeable of those things, because it's key with credit cards, of course, because some people, they're like, well, I heard that I should spend my full limit. I'm like, well, you can do that, but you want to pay it down. If your limit is 300 and you spend 300, you definitely want to pay it down, pay that 300 off before it reports, or, you know, whatever. I think 30% of 300 is like maybe $90. You definitely want to pay that $300 balance down to like $50, because you don't want the credit bureaus seeing that you're using more than 30% of that credit card. So that's why it's very important to understand those reporting dates, because you want to make sure that, you know, you're paying on time before they report it late. You want to make sure that your credit card balances, a line of credit, is below 30% of the limit before it reports to the credit bureau. Because you always want to make sure that the information that's reporting is going to help you and not hurt you. So again, when you're opening those creditors or opening credit accounts and getting loans, ask them who all they report to. Ideally, you want them to report to all three, but it is understandable if it's an account that don't report to all three. It still can be helpful because some credit reports might need a boost as well, because when you apply for homes, they look at your median score. So it's still okay if they don't report to all three, because it's still going to build your credit score somewhere, and that can help you get certain products, because different lenders look at different credit reports. Mortgage lenders, they look at all three. So it's still okay if it's a creditor that only reports to two or reports to one, because you're still helping one of your credit scores. Any more questions?
Okay. That's all I have in the chat so far.
Okay. So just some building blocks for good credit. Develop a budget and stick to it. Getting new credit cards or getting any type of credit, it does not mean you have more income. So if you open a credit card, they give you a $500 limit. You do not have $500 more in your cash flow. Anytime you use credit, think of it as an expense that you have to pay that month. So just making sure that whatever you spend on your credit card, whatever loans that you're opening fit into your current budget with your other expenses. Save money so you're prepared for a rainy day or a big purchase. Whenever it comes to emergencies, it's better to be able to cover those emergencies in cash, because you don't want that emergency to be costing you extra money due to interest. Also, you don't want to have to rely on trying to borrow from someone or from a creditor in order to cover emergencies. The other thing, when you're making big purchases, you want to save up as much as possible to lower what that loan amount is going to be, and which will allow you to have a lower monthly payment that can be more budget friendly. So whenever you're going to, it's always important to have a rainy day fund emergency account. And then when you're planning for these big purchases, just say, for instance, if it's like months away, just create a savings goal for it and try to save up as much as possible to lower the amount of credit you have to borrow. So it can be a lot more budget friendly. Next, pay your bills on time. It doesn't matter who it is. If you sign a contract to pay somebody monthly a certain amount of money, then make sure you pay those bills on time. Because there are accounts that do not report monthly to the credit bureau, but they do report once you stop paying. So someone asked about rent. So again, it is rare that your rent can be reported to the credit report on a monthly basis. But if you get evicted, or if you owe a balance to a rental property, they get a credit report. So you do want to make sure that you're renting property that you can afford to pay each month. The same thing with utilities, your electric bill, your cell phone bill, water bill, gas bills. If you don't pay those and you have a balance that's owed, they can eventually sell that information to a collection agency and place it on your credit report. So just make sure you pay all your bills on time. And then, keep your credit card balances low. Aim to pay them off monthly. I know I repeated this multiple times throughout this presentation, but I'm saying this because this is a way to allow yourself to not get burdened with credit card debt. Because when you get burdened with credit card debt, that means you have high balances, and then every month that balance is getting bigger and bigger because of the interest, and then your minimum payment is not satisfying like that increase. So keeping those balances low or aiming to pay off monthly is just gonna allow you to stay out of debt and allow you to keep from having to pay a lot of interest on your credit cards, as well as it helps your credit score. So just make sure you're only spending what you can afford to pay off that month. Monitor your credit history and dispute incorrect information. So always make sure that you're looking at your credit report on a regular basis, at least once a quarter, just to make sure the information is correct. Also, you want to make sure that there's no identity theft added to your credit report. because you do want to dispute incorrect information as soon as possible, because you never want to go and apply for something and then find out that there's errors on your credit report. So now you're going to have to fix it before you can get whatever you're trying to apply for. So you don't want those errors to just pop up and surprise you, especially when you're trying to purchase a home and you have to like set back that goal in order to fix those things. Only borrow what you can afford to pay back within 30 days. So whenever you're getting loans, just make sure those loan payments is something you can afford within 30 days. And that's with any time you're borrowing money, just making sure that it's something you can afford within 30 days. Because if you cannot make a payment within 30 days, then that can drop your score. So if you can't afford the minimum payment, after 30 days, it would hit your credit as delinquent. And then every 30 days that you don't make a payment, then it'll keep reporting those delinquencies on your credit report. And then protect your identity. So that your identity is your baby. So make sure you're protecting that identity at all costs, because when it comes to recovering from identity theft, it is a long process. It's a lengthy process because you have to prove to the credit bureaus as well as the creditors that you did not open that account, that you did not spend the money. And sometimes it can be hard to prove that. Other times it can be family members or friends, people that are close to you that somehow get your information and they open accounts in your name. And a lot of times we don't want to file police reports on our family members or our close friends. So just protect your identity at all costs. Be careful who you're giving your information to. Be careful of websites that you're going to, that you're going on that ask for you, ask for like socials or credit card information. Be mindful of emails and links that you receive in emails or even via text message. So just be mindful of, just be knowledgeable and mindful of ways that people can steal your identity, and just making sure that you're protecting yourself from it. It is good to set up alerts on your, so anytime that there's new information or updates on your credit report, you receive an email about it. So that way you can stay on top of your credit history. So again, like Experian, that's a free website to use. You can set up alerts. So anytime there's updates to your credit report, then you'll know right away. So if someone opened an account, then you should be able to have that information as soon as it hits your credit report. Same thing with Credit Karma. They will send you alerts to anytime there's new information or updates to your credit report. There's also other identity theft programs that you can get, or memberships you can get, that again, it monitors your credit report and provides you updates. It provides you updates anytime accounts are open on your credit report. Is there any more questions before we end today?
There was another question.
Okay.
There was another question that was emailed to me, and I'm trying to put up here. It says, how do I remove items from my credit report and deal with collection agencies when I have paid the company?
So whenever you pay debt off, you have to negotiate before you make that payment for the account to be removed. If you don't negotiate deletion, and you make a payment, then technically that information is correct. And it can be hard for you to go back and try to get it deleted off your credit report. So it's very important to negotiate a deletion at the time that you're negotiating a settlement or you're preparing to pay for a debt. It's very important to ask for the deletion then, because once you pay it and they update your credit report, then technically, legally, they can't. Legally, they don't have to remove it from your credit report. It'll just fall off after 7 years. If you do enter an agreement that is supposed to be deleted off, and you have documentation from that collection agency or creditor that they're going to delete the account, then you can go and dispute it with the credit bureau with that information, because at that point it's an error. Because if they agreed to delete it off and they didn't delete it off, then now you can dispute it and show that that account's supposed to be removed. Some collection agencies, they might agree to remove it, but they will probably require you to contact them back. So just make sure, if you're negotiating with a collection agency and they say, they ask for you to call them back to have it deleted, make sure you're calling them back to get it deleted after you paid it. But just again, whenever you negotiate settlements or you're going to pay in full, make sure you're getting in writing that they're going to delete it off. Otherwise, you can't go back and dispute it later because it's considered correct information.
Medical debt. How do medical bills impact your credit report?
So the medical bills, when it hit as a collection, it drops your score because that falls under your payment history. My understanding that they don't weigh as much as other collection items, but they still drop your score whenever they get added to your credit report. Now, as far as like individual lenders, then when you're applying for credit, each lender, they look at the content of your history. So if they see medical debt, it might not affect your eligibility to get approved, but it does affect your score at the time it hits your credit report.
Okay. Just going back through the chat here to make sure I didn't miss any questions. Okay, you talked about how to get it removed already. And that's all that's in the chat.
I can't see anything in the chat. I just
well, some of them were sent to me or are being messaged
okay.
to me. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So if it was like a hospital bill that reported it as delinquent but being paid, and they won't remove it, so then they have to go through the dispute process with the credit bureau.
That's the question she.
Yeah, she says it was a hospital bill that went to collections, but it was paid and they won't remove it.
Was it paid before or after it went to collection?
Waiting on a response in the chat. After.
Okay. Yeah, so just again, like when it comes to collection agencies, it's kind of a courtesy for them to remove it. If you didn't ask for a deletion at the time you paid, most likely they're not going to remove it after the fact. And then you can't dispute it because the credit bureau is going to say that the information is correct.
Correct.
So that's why I say it's best to negotiate the deletion before you pay. Because it's a courtesy, but any collection agency can say no to deleting information off your credit report.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to negotiations, I just kind of want to forewarn people, if you have no interest whatsoever in actually paying off a debt, and you go and you enter into these payment arrangements with these collection companies, and then you start making payments and then you stop, your old debt is now current debt again. So it goes to now into that 7-year clock now starts that you've reoccurred all of this stuff. So it's also important that if you are in the process of trying to apply for a loan, for like a home loan, for a mortgage or something like that, that you contact the lender that you intend to get your mortgage with first, and have them take a look at your credit report and have them tell you what it is you need to take off, what you need to pay down, what it is that you have to do, because you don't want to go back and start doing things with your credit that's going to drastically, drop your credit score or do something that's going to impact it negatively, because different lenders have different requirements as it comes to your credit and what they want to see done and not have done. So they're trying to get you set up in the best scenario possible so that, your approval and everything will go through. So don't start doing everything on your own. Definitely let the lender explain to you in that particular situation what it is that you need to do.
Definitely, if you're saving to buy a house, you don't want all your savings and all your money going towards things that the lender doesn't care about.
Right. Like medical bills.
Yes. Yes, they don't. A lot of them, they do not care about medical bills. And again, and then even if you're not applying to things and you just don't want collections on your credit report, just make sure that before you contact them, that you have the money that you're gonna pay, and you have that money already ready, because you don't want anything to jumpstart. You don't want to call them and then they tell you something, you're like, nah, and then they update your report to a new date, and now you got to wait longer for that to fall off your credit report.
And then too, if you have a collection agency that's calling you about a bill that's been 5 years old, you can actually, have before you even start trying to pay it off, tell them that you want to see the bill that you received, or what is the original bill. And if they can't produce the original bill from the creditor or whatever, then at that point you can dispute it and then get it taken off. You don't even have to worry about trying to pay off some other debt that they can't prove that actually even belongs to you.
Yes, yeah, that's the other thing. That's why I talked about verification. Mm-hmm. And the validation letters. They have to provide proof to you that you owe that debt, and them dates have to make sense and match up. So the verification letter can be important, because you can send that verification letter out, and if they don't provide that verification to you, then you can speak with the credit bureau and be like, well, this company have not verified this debt. I want it deleted. So that verification letter can be very important in the process of getting errors off your credit report.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, one other thing too, I want to talk about or say or mention about the difference between the past due and the late. A payment, if a payment is due on the 1st and you pay it on the 5th, it's considered late, but it's not a 30-day past due. Generally, when you get 30 days past due, it's when it then reflects or being reported to the credit bureau. So for those folks that are thinking, oh my goodness, if I don't pay this in the next 3 days or whatever, it's going to reflect on my credit report, and it's not. So you generally have to be 30 days behind in order for something to report to the credit bureau as a late or as a past due payment. So be mindful of that too.
You'll owe a late fee, but your credit history will be okay.
Yes. Yeah, you owe a late fee.
And also, in some cases, if you're having a financial crisis, you might be able to talk to that credit card company or that creditor, and they might be able to put you on a plan to where they won't report at all and allow you time to catch up. I'm not saying it's guaranteed and that everybody does this, but if you are in a situation where you know that you're going to be more than 30 days late after that due date, just talk to the creditor and find out what your options are. Some of them may have an option for you that works in your favor and that would allow you time to catch up and not have those late pays reported. And the other one, there's just nothing you can do about it. But if you don't ask, then you would never know. So what did I say? Closed mouths don't get fed?
Closed mouths don't get fed, yes. If you don't ask, ye shall not receive. So yeah, definitely ask.
Yes.
Definitely ask. I mean, because the worst they can tell you is no. Best case scenario, they'll work with you.
And at the end of the day, it's gonna be late. At the end of the day, it's gonna hit. But you can go back and fix it. You can just, once you get to a point to where you can start paying again, then you just start paying on time again. And eventually the delinquency is going to get older and older and older, and eventually they fall off. So
and there are a lot of creditors that are still working with people and still understand that a lot of folks are still trying to recover from financial setbacks that people experienced when COVID first started. So there are a lot of people that are out there that are still willing to work with you, like Monet said, if you just ask them. So you have to communicate with the creditors and let them know there may be some kind of program where, they'll put that payment on the back end of something or whatever, and, and then kind of have you start over. But you just never know until you actually communicate and ask the question. So it's important to keep those lines of communication open. Is it a good idea?
Also, yeah, if you're applying for loans, ask them how far back do they look with payment history. Because it could be something you probably were delinquent 4 years ago and you've been paying on time for 4 years, and you'll be okay. So you can ask those questions too when you're applying for different loans. And then also I know it's hard to apply for loans and use credit in a financial crisis situation, but sometimes if there's other options to avoid credit in those situations, because then that's how you get information on your credit report that you can't pay. So just making sure that when you're opening accounts that fits into your budget at the time, because
credit lines of credit is not cash. So repeat, credit is not cash. That does not mean you have, you got a $500 credit limit. That means you have an extra $500. It is not cash.
Yes. Yeah. So, you don't want to get into that cycle of if you can't afford a bill, then you go apply for credit to pay the bill, because now you got to pay. You still got to pay the bill for the credit deal. You got to pay that bill and the next bill the next month.
And more
it's
interest.
Almost like you're making a double payment plus
and
interest.
Someone just asked the question, is it a good idea to lock your credit information?
Are you meaning to have credit free, have a fraud alert or have a credit freeze?
Mr. Ernest, you want to unmute yourself?
Good evening. Hello. Yes, say that I am saving for a home, and I'm wanting not to have anybody check into my credit. Is it a good thing? Because you know how people randomly go through and tell you that you've been pre-approved for a certain amount, and you have a person who applies for it, and you say, oh, I forgot I locked my credit. I'm saving for, a home. Is it a good idea to lock your credit information with the credit bureau?
So I feel like credit freezes are more important if you know that someone stole your information, or that there's a likelihood of identity theft. Usually whenever they send you those mailers, And those are like soft pulls. So it doesn't show up on your credit report or hurt your credit score. Usually when you do credit freezes, is at a moment that you know that someone stolen your identity, or maybe you know that someone stolen information that they can use to open credit. So you want to freeze your accounts because you don't want, you want that if that person tries to apply for credit, it's gonna not allow them to pull your credit. The lenders won't be able to pull your credit history and open credit for that person. And then definitely they would need like your consent. They have to call you and like verify your identity. And there's just like more steps that you will have to go through to identify yourself before an account is open. I feel like if you don't have an instance that someone stole your identity, there's no reason to freeze your accounts.
There was a lady at one of the credit bureaus, I can't remember when I had a bunch of alias names that were popping up on my credit bureau, which were actually my ex-mother-in-law's name. Her name was popping up on my credit report along with all of her bills because she had passed. So they, the credit bureau, they just kind of dumped everything on mine. So what the credit bureau, after they removed all of the aliases off of my credit report, she says that there's a way that you can actually have your name listed on your credit file so that if any credit comes in that's not the way you have it reported to the bureau, that it won't go through as well too. So you can ask them about that. So whenever you actually go to apply for credit, make sure that you apply the same way that your name is actually listed on the bureau.
Yeah, and then there's different levels of fraud protection you could put with the credit bureau. There's like one that's kind of pretty simple, just an alert. So if someone tries, whenever you open credit, they just have to go a step further to identify you before that application is approved. And then again, like the freeze is like, you can't do anything until the freeze is lifted. Even like when I meet with clients, if you have a fraud alert or a credit freeze, I can't do a soft pull of your credit until you open it up and then you can close it back. But I don't think it's necessary unless something happened where someone got information that they can use to open your account. Because what could happen, you can forget about it. And then you go to apply for something that you want to get, and then you can't do it because of the credit freeze. And it's just going to be like a little setback that you have to.
That may, if you're out there shopping a lot, that may be an added level of protection against yourself. If you know that you're going to go out there and start applying for a bunch of stuff, and like, I knew I froze this account for a reason, and it's going to stop me. If that's your safety measure, if that's your added level of security that you need, then by all means, then go ahead and do that.
I had a client that she had identity theft happen. So she did have the credit freezes, and she had to go through a lot just to get the credit freezes taken off. I don't know what type of credit freezes she had, but it was so strict that even some of her creditors wasn't even updated. Like there was information that wasn't even being updated on her credit report. And I was like, oh, this account haven't been updated in months. And she was like, yeah, I've been paying on it. And then she looked at the date and she was like, oh, that's around the time I put the freeze on my account. I don't know why that happened, but for some reason, there was creditors that wasn't being updated because of the freeze. And she had to go through a lot. I think she just now got everything just opened back up again.
Isn't it amazing how if you want access to your own credit, they have you going through all kinds of security features, but a scammer can go in there like nothing and get access
right?
to whatever it is that they need. How is that possible? How is
Right.
that possible? They want to know the exact address of where you lived in 1980. Like, who's supposed to remember that? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, it is very important. I'm like, your identity, your credit, that's just like a baby to you. You have to protect it at all costs. You do not want anyone taking that from you, because I mean, not only is it a violation, the other thing is it just requires so much effort to prove that you did not do that. Because, you know, they just don't want anybody just claiming identity theft just to get things taken off their credit report.
Or dispute. At one point, there was, you know, people that are just going through and putting a lot of disputes in on their credit report. And a lot of lenders at one point, well, now I know they don't, especially when it comes to home mortgage, you cannot get a mortgage if you've got open disputes on your credit report. So you can't just go in and put in a bunch of disputes knowing that it's going to take 30 days for them to actually to get a response and for it to get clear and for the dispute to fall off and things of that nature, because, you know, you just won't have access to certain credit. You know, they can't do that anymore.
You can call to have them removed, but you have to accept responsibility for the debt. But I've been told you can call and have those notations removed. And then just be mindful of credit repair companies, because a lot of credit repair companies, all they do is just dispute accounts. They look for accounts that they feel like was easy for them to dispute, and they just dispute a bunch of accounts and try to get things removed. And then if those things don't get removed, then you're left with all those notations on your credit report. Because again, I've met with clients and I ask them about all the disputes. I'll ask them like, okay, well, you disputed this information. What happened? What was the outcome of the dispute? And they'll say, I didn't even know that was disputed. I never disputed that. So then I'll ask, well, have you worked with a credit repair company before? And then they'll say, yes, I worked with a credit repair company. And they didn't even know that that credit repair company was disputing certain information. So just be mindful that, you know, there's no quick fix to your credit. And so just be mindful of, if you choose to go to a credit repair company, that you just do your research, you know, ask them questions, try to understand what is it exactly that they do. I can understand if you have legitimate errors on your credit report, or you have identity theft and you want to pay somebody to help you fix it. I can see how that can be important, because maybe you just don't want to deal with the time and effort. Which that's fine. It's fine to pay someone to help you with those things. But you can still do them on your own. But just make sure that, you know, before you start paying somebody to help you repair and fix your credit, that you have a general idea of what they're doing.
And know that disputes are like inquiries. They stay on your report for 2 years too before they come off.
Just be mindful of everything that you're doing with your credit. And that's where Family Houston comes in. You know, our job as financial coaches is to help you discover how to make your hard-earned money go further. We help you with creating budgets, so spending plans, so you can stay within your income. We can help you with getting out of debt. So if you want to, if you have a goal to be debt free and you want to pay things off on your credit report, we can help you create debt repayment plans. We can help you with increasing your credit score by, you know, reviewing your credit for free. And again, it's a soft pull that we do. So we'll provide you a TransUnion FICO score, and we'll just go over your credit report with you so you can have a better understanding of the things on your credit report, and how you should tackle any issues on your credit report. We can help you with building a savings goal, as well as if you're wanting to buy a house or car, we can help you prepare for those things. And so the key thing with coaching is accountability. So you pretty much have this person that you're talking to every month that's holding you accountable to the actions that you need to take to reach a certain financial goal. We're also here to offer any resources, any tools that can be helpful towards your goal, as well as any like financial education that's needed. So if there's things that you don't understand about your credit or savings, things like that, then we provide the information to you so you can have a better understanding of those things. And this is how to schedule an appointment with the financial coach. If you're on your computer, then you can scan the QR code. That would take you to our financial coaching intake survey. And then if you want to meet with me, you can put Monet Cheney. My contact information is on the next slide. So you can put Monet Cheney on that intake survey form, and then that survey will be sent to me, and then I'll reach out to schedule an appointment with you. If you don't indicate a coach on there, then it'll be sent to a coach closest to your zip code. We have coaches in Katy, Bay Area, Clear Lake area, and then the central Houston area. We do virtual coaching. So it doesn't matter how far you are from your coach, you can still meet with them. So we do virtual coaching, as well as we can schedule in-person appointments. So if you're someone that's not very tech savvy, or you prefer to meet with someone in person, because that makes you a little bit more, what's the word? It's like part of your discipline. Like you have to go in person in order to get it done. Then we can meet with our clients in person. If you have any questions, you can contact me at 832-987-2023, or at my email address is M as in Mary, C as in cat, H as in Henry, E as in elephant, N as in Nancy, E as in elephant, Y at familyhouston.org.
Okay. All right. I will make sure that when we send out this recording to everyone that registered for today, that Ms. Monet's contact information is also included on that email in case you are interested in setting up a one-on-one coaching session with her. Ms. Monet, I want to thank you very much. Let me check Facebook to make sure I don't have any questions here. But thank you very much for the partnership, the sponsorship of Family Houston, who's been providing us with this financial information for the past, I want to say probably about 10 years. You guys have been partners within our CDC. Oh my God. It
was Dan, I think.
Yeah, Richard. It was Dan before that, and then Richard before that. So yeah, so you guys have been around for quite some time. So yeah, definitely reach out for the service. It is free. It is not a charge for it. So definitely take advantage of the opportunity for you guys to be able to get that that service. If you guys know of someone that may find the information that was covered here to be beneficial, we do encourage you to forward it along to other family members, neighbors, co-workers, and so on and so forth for them to get access to this information as well. Please feel free to invite them to come back to participate for future Money, Health, and Wealth financial sessions. I want to see, what do we have for next month? I believe it's making large purchases. Yes, we're going to be making large purchases. It's going to be May 3rd. We are here the first Wednesday of every month from 4 to 6 p.m. That we've included as part of the month of service presentations in our asset building series. So thank you guys very much for coming out. Hopefully, again, you guys found the information to be beneficial as well. And we encourage you to continue to take your financial capabilities serious. We appreciate you and applaud you for coming in to receive this information. Thank you guys very much. Thank you very much, Miss Harriet. Thank you, Miss Ernest. We appreciate you guys. Miss Natalie, thank you all once again for continuing to join us. We definitely appreciate it. Miss Monet, thank you for the remainder of your afternoon. Jackie Prince, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, you all have a wonderful remainder of your evening. If you're in your cars or on your way home, please be careful, drive safely. I'm getting the weather advisories and things on my phone, so you guys be safe and take care of yourselves, and we will all see you next time. All right.